Hi everybody, I'm going to do a slightly advanced Let's Play. Been a lot of good Let's Plays that start at the beginning of the game, but I'm going to do one that looks at a slightly more advanced group. I'm just outside of Oskahole here. Not going to do anything story related, I'm just going to fight some random combats and talk about how the group works. You can see that I'm playing a group with Vrace, the Warrior, Selene, the Rogue, Vincent, the Sorcerer, and Fiona, the Paladin. Now, one of the things you really want to focus on when you are getting a group ready to go into combat is pre-buffing. When you cast a buff in combat, it's ticking down turns every turn that goes by. Out of combat, it's not counting, so be sure to always prep your group by pre-buffing. So you can see that I just cast, if I click on it and click on it again, this is Shield of Cortias. It lasts for 8+ leadership turns. So if I go in and take a look at Vrace's effects here, you can see that he now has Shield of Cortias on him. And as I wander around, that 11 turn duration is not going to go down. It will only start going down when I get into combat. So if I know some fighting is coming soon, I'm just going to buff all my characters. Burst of Speed is going to help Vrace move faster in combat so that he's more mobile and dodge arrows better. Stone Sin is going to actually raise his health and increase his armor. You can see his health maximum went up here. Natural Mastery is helping increase his melee accuracy and defense. Those are the 3 buffs that I've chosen to use for his character throughout the game. Fiona is going to back up the team with Consecrated Defense. Vincent has no buffs that he's using. He's a Curse and Storm Strike it in. And the Rogue Selene is also kind of a self-focused character and has no buffs to share with the team as well. So that's all the buffing that I need to do. Now Vrace's HP is low, so I'm going to toss a quick heal in the group here. And now I'm ready to go into some fighting. Buffs can last through combat if you have high enough skill, so keep that in mind as well. You don't have to do this every time if you're in the best fighting setup. So now I'm headed off to find a combat somewhere. I'm just going to wander straight into some trouble. I know there's a fight over here. Now leading with Selene, she's the rogue, she has stealth. Oftentimes she's going to get the first round of combat. Unfortunately, she didn't win her stealth roll, and the Ratkin are fighting from raised ground there and laying down some arrows on top of me. Now, this group is built out around a couple of ideas. Selene is very fast and mobile, and I don't really like that I'm fighting uphill here, but she has a 1 AP attack, so she gets 7 AP a turn. Her Punishing Blades talent, which she's already raised to level 2, is an attack, and it also puts a curse on her target. So any target she hits will get a -9 armor. She's doing decent damage here, and you can see her accuracy. So she's just going to put that curse on these 2 targets. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip off to the side for the moment. We're going to wait a second. This is a pretty heavy melee group, so one of the challenges that the group actually has is to get everyone into combat every turn. This has to do with the fact that I've built out Vincent as a Storm Strike character, so he is using his Storm Strike 2. He is wielding a blade, a 2 AP blade, and trying to lay down a bunch of extra lightning damage. So we'll see. He's still building, but you can see already as a wizard he's doing pretty serious melee damage. He's not going to get into any of his ranged area effect or directional lightning magic in this build, which makes him really different than all the other Vincent builds that you might play. As you work through these different types of builds, you'll see really variability in the types of groups that you can build in heroes. Now, with some focus and that curse on the Ratkin, I've managed to take out the first one, and I'm putting Vrace out in front because I know there are more Ratkin up on this hill. I've avoided trying to go up these stairs in the first round as they're going to soak up 2 AP of movement, and I don't really want to overextend my group. Now, Fiona in the back, a little bit slower. She actually swings and misses with her Zealous Strikes talent. Now, I've also saved Selene for the end, knowing that I might need some extra punching power, and she's going to pull out Frenzied Blows. One of her awesome starting talents, Frenzied Blows 2, already begins with a critical percentage, which is really rare. There's no other attack actually in the game that starts this way. She's a killer in melee from the very first moment she starts, and she gets in 2 hits, but we aren't able to wrap up that archer. So now when I end my turn, we're going to see who's up on top of the hill, what else they've got up there, if it's a big group or if I'm kind of lucky and just fighting a small one. It looks like a pile of archers. They're raining down some attacks on me, and then it comes back around to my turn. Now, again, we're looking pretty good here. I'm going to start with Vincent, try to get him to finish off this Ratkin. It's pretty good. Now, the other role that Vincent is playing in the group is to drop curses on targets. So a very powerful curse that he has. I'm going to move Selene up. We're taking this hill. She's going to stab once, advance, and stab again. And you can see that I'm really using her primarily to run amongst her targets, dance between them, and deliver the Punishing Blades curse to everyone she possibly can. It means everyone I'm hitting has low armor and drives a lot more damage. Now, because of these stairs, I don't think I'm going to be able to kill both these Ratkin in the rest of the turn. So to reduce the overall damage output that they can drop on top of me, I'm going to use Flash Freeze, which brings down their AP, meaning they're going to get 1 less attack a turn. So I'm going to drop Flash Freeze on this first target, and then we're going to start a bum rush up the hill. Again, you can only get so much up the hill. Fiona uses her Zealous Strikes attack, which will buff her next attack next turn if she gets a hit. And Vrace comes charging up the hill and takes out the Ratkin. And as mentioned, we're just a little too far away. I should have cursed the other Ratkin with Flash Freeze, because I cursed the one that was closer. It's kind of a silly move because I knew I was more likely to take him out. This Ratkin's shooting at close range, but has limited killing power now, and I'm able to bring him down. I'm just going to let Selene end it. So now all the enemies are dead. As soon as I end my turn, flips back over to non-combat mode, back in the grouping ability, and I'm going to get my group into order here and just start with Fiona, kind of straightening things out. It didn't really take very much damage at all, moved quickly. Selene actually was out front the entire time, so she took the most beating. Pretty happy now with my HP. I can check the quick status here. It looks good. Didn't spend too much SP. Wasn't that big of a fight. And notably, it did take enough turns to eat up my buffs. That actually is because I'm playing on Nightmare, the highest level. At the end of every combat and the higher levels, your buffs, I was showing you earlier the duration on these buffs. I have 11 turns here. That clearly wasn't an 11 turn combat. But in the higher levels of difficulty, at the end of a combat, there's a refresh penalty that's applied. A dice is rolled and applied and reduced from that. So I did actually lose all the buffs that I had on at the end of that combat. I should have healed after Vrace brought Stone Skin up. Sorry, talking and playing, get a little behind. Do things that aren't the smartest at times. And move Fiona into the center here and cast Consecrated Defense on herself, and she gets the team. So now you can see that if we go to this screen, in total, Vrace has 21 armor, 2 dodge bonus, 2 parry bonus. He's pretty well set up. As good as he is, he's still only level 5 character, so he's not very far along, but he's got a pretty solid build out here of armor and HP and dodge bonuses. It's definitely leading to, you could see people missing him in combat. Alright, so I'm going to head into the next one and just show another combat, try to play a little bit differently, but this group has already got a pretty strong build out, and I like what they're up to, and I knew there was a combat over here, so I headed this direction. Again with Selene leading. I haven't spent any points in her stealth, so she starts to lose stealth rolls. If you're not paying attention to this, you're not getting her stealth gear, which means the monsters are going to get to go first, and that can hurt often. Now, here's an example of where the monsters have lined up nicely for me to be able to flash freeze them at a slightly more advantageous setup. I have area effect already there. Vrace is going to go, again, the goal here for me, this build, is really to be relying on Selene to put this curse everywhere. So you can see she's fast enough to dive into this trench and tag everyone. Now, Vrace is just going to follow right behind and take advantage of the low armor targets, and he lays down some good killing. I'm going to put Vincent as close as I can, and what I really want to do is bring Fiona a little bit closer. She's going to heal. Often important to heal in middle of combat. It's better to get not to get too far behind. Heal early. You can see I've brought all my characters back to full health. I don't want them to get low because then I'm under the gun to get Fiona to be pumping healing. One advantage you can use here is anytime you're going through difficult terrain, up and down stairs, across triggered traps, things like that, you can always move into a 2-cost square for 1 AP cost, so that I can get into this stairwell and I actually overall between the turns save myself an AP. Now you can see on these Ratkin, they're currently under flash freeze and they have punishing blows, so they have 0 armor and they both have 1 AP. This warrior actually is faster, so he has 2 AP. It also has 0 armor. They're going to have less attacks against me on their turn, and when it comes back around to my turn, I'm going to have the opportunity to really wallop them because they have 0 armor. So again, it's a pretty small Ratkin group here in the trench, but I'm able to now gonna move again, kind of focusing on with this full melee group. It really is pushing me to kind of do a charge all the time. Everyone wants to be right on the front line if at all possible, so even Fiona this time is going to have enough time to get in. Now what I'm using here is the Zealous Strikes talent. This is a buffing attack, so when Fiona attacks, if she hits, it buffs her for an additional +1 melee accuracy and +6 holy damage. So that means that the next time I attack, for something, if I use Hammer Blow, for example, I have a bonus +1 accuracy and I have 6 additional holy damage. I'm wearing some gear that gives me 2. You can see my sum total there. So this gives her sort of an attack rhythm. I want to use Zealous Strikes, get the buff up, and then I want to hit with Hammer Blow and use less spell power and bring down that Holy Wrath upon my target. Now I'm looking to get both characters up this trench, and as you can see, there's a little bit of story here. I'm approaching a story location, a big challenge fight coming up. I want to make sure that I get a curse in on. If you're attacking with a cursing attack, you've got to hit. So if you miss, then you didn't deliver the curse. Same thing with a buffing attack. If you try to attack your target and you happen to miss, then you didn't buff yourself. And I'm able to get Vrace in there and clean up the second Ratkin. Now I'm on the brink here of going up into the next area. It's going to be a prolonged, extended fight, but I just wanted to take a minute to show the build that I'm using right now. This is on Nightmare, and I have built an all melee group. Vincent is striking and backing up with curses. It's very important to pick a good variety of talents. If I just gave him Storm Strike only, there's going to be times when he's not able to get into combat. There's something in the way, the terrain is against him, or there's a big mass of enemies like we saw in the trench here, where it's really advantageous to be able to blast them with this area effect. Now Flash Freeze also increases in area effect as it goes, so it's a great off talent for him. You don't want to rely on a single thing. Fiona is currently working on a good buff to back up the team. This team is in melee all the time, so I need something to kind of make sure that they stay alive. They're taking a lot less hits. That's critical. She is going to be stuck in a role of healing half the time, so she has Blessed Aura. This is an area effect heal. It's very useful, very powerful, but it's soaking up 3 AP every time she uses it. So as a character, she's kind of stuck on this edge, this razor between spending her AP to move forward and attack, or kind of moving halfway forward and using some AP to heal her companions who just got harmed. Currently, I've got her split between Zealous Strikes and Hammer Blow, using the combination of those. Very strong melee character, and will be able to pick up heavier hammers and wear heavy armor in the end. So she will continue to be that kind of, when she can get into combat, she crushes, but often will have to stop short and do a little bit of healing, or come out of combat and do some healing. In Vrace's case, I'm currently focusing on his buffs. He's got 2 really awesome basic empowered attacks, Savage Sweep and Crushing Blow 1. I haven't raised either of them. I haven't quite decided which one I want for this build, but for Vrace, there are some very, very good buffs, and they're all focused on himself. He's only a personal buffer. Natural Mastery raises both melee, accuracy, and defense. You can't pass it up. Burst of Speed is giving him move points. You can see when he was in combat, he had a 7:1. I should have pointed that out. And allows him to use that 1 point for move, and the 7 AP is for attacking and moving. So as that goes up in power, he'll get up a couple of move points and really be much more mobile on the battlefield without having to waste his AP on moving. And Stone Skin is undeniably awesome. Raises his armor, ups his HP, can't be beaten. Now, because I'm building out Vincent as a Storm Striker, Selene is going to focus on punishing blades for herself, for Vincent, and for the full group. This is such a killer talent. It's one of the best ways to deliver a negative armor curse. She's killing, hurting her targets, and dropping this armor. She's so fast. As a character, she can really slip amongst a big group of enemies, tag everyone, and then the people following behind her. Now, in her longer progression, because she's going to be putting herself at risk, she's going into the middle of the enemy group. I'm looking at Quicksilver Defense and Dance of Shadows as buffs for her that she'll use on herself to be able to support this. Quicksilver Defense will help raise her dodge and parry. You can see right out of the gate at level 1, it's going to give her a +3 parry and +3 dodge, which is going to make her a lot harder to tag, because she's going to put herself repetitively in danger. She has much lower HP than than someone like Vrace, so she needs to be really defensive and to block and dodge her attacks more than get hit. And finally, for her, Dance of Shadows is such a powerful talent. It's great. Stacks move points, critical percentage, and stealth for her. So she'll be picking that up as soon as she can, that stacks up her critical percentage with Frenzied Blows, which is already at 4%. So we'll be raising both of those together. We'll be really stacking up critical, trying to shoot for late game. By the end of episode 2, she might have 15, 16 points of critical percentage. And if she can find some good gear, a good ring to put on top of that, she'll be headed toward 20. They're really good, especially you can see that she's currently using 1 AP blades. Hopefully I can keep her in the 1 AP range. We'll see with the damage, but if she gets that many attacks and has 20% critical, she's killing all the time. And it also stacks up move points, so that when she's kind of really sliding amongst her targets, there is extra move points for her to get that move and still be able to deliver 5 or 6 curses in a turn. So that's a kind of a deeper look at what this build is. As mentioned, Heroes of Steel has a thief character, a cleric separate from the paladin, and a wizard who's throwing fire and fire curses, choking ash, all sorts of things. And every one of these characters has about 10 talents. So in a kind of optimal build, you're picking 3 or 4 that you're focusing on, maybe even 2 to 4. So you can see this is one glimpse into the variety that you can get in a character build and the sorts of tactics that you can be planning. I fought 2 really easy battles here. I just wanted to show off what my group's up to in Nightmare as we are reaching the Oscahold, the North Vault Fort in Oscahold. It is a lot longer than I thought it would be, but I hope this gives you a cool vision into Heroes of Steel gameplay. And enjoy.